texture for this sign. We're not going to be going into texture based tutorials here. There are so many tutorials out there that show you how to create textures that there's just no point getting into it. One of the things we need to do here is have the UV coordinates set. I'm not going to be too concerned about the pole for now. What I'll do is make the UV coordinates for the sign. I'll leave the reverse as it is. I will not assign a texture to that at this moment in time. I'll just select all of the faces. In fact, I'll select the front two faces of the main area of the sign and press the dot key on the keyboard to center it on the view. I'll hide this tool panel by pressing the N key. Now I'm going to switch over into the UV editing setup screen. I'll press the dot key again to align the view. I'll press the 1 key, in fact the 3 key, to face the sign head on, and it should be in orthographic mode. And here's the UV section, the image screen. With the mouse in the 3D viewport, I'll press the U key, which brings up the UV mapping screen. I have the front faces selected, so now I'm simply going to press the project from view bounds. You have different options. By default you can just press the unwrap button and that will create a nice UV map for you to create textures on. And you've got cube projection, cylinder projection, the sphere projection, but for this application I'm going to use project from view, so that it takes into consideration the shape of the sign. In fact, what I should do instead is just select project from view rather than the one below called project from view bounds, which expands the size of the selected UV coordinates to the size of the texture. In this case we'll keep the scale to the size that's desirable. You press the S key to scale up and down. I'll drag this up by pressing the G key. Right there will do. Now I'm simply going to go to the UV menu, UV menu, and then the export UV layout option, and I have that exported for me to create a texture base. Where should I put this? Road signs, direction sign layout .png, confirm. Now that exports a nice image of the UV layout. Now let's get this image into the Blender program. I created the image in Photoshop, so let's have a look. Open. Now we have two versions of this image available. I've saved it in the texture base folder under road signs. The image is directional sign. We have a DDS and we have a PNG format. The direct draw surface file is an NVIDIA format that you can export using the GIMP or Photoshop or whatever editor you are using. This has the bitmaps pre-calculated. Now the bitmaps are just generally different images piled up in the same file, which represent the object at certain distances, giving the engine less work to do the further away the image is. So I've exported the DDS format because there's less work for the DBPRO engine to do. However, if I open it in Blender, which it will, the image is perfectly aligned. We have the textured look on it with the brush and the eraser, cutting away a bit of text with a little bit of texturizer filter. However, if I switch over into this view, I drag with the middle mouse button and select, make sure the texture mode is selected. If I select the object, unhide, you'll see that there's nothing there. As you can see, there's just a plain brown painted plastic surface. So where's the text? Where has the text gone? Over here we see it's inside under the UV range. Over here we see that it's nowhere to be seen. Well, it's a bug in the program with the DDS format. If I load this into DBPRO, the image will be in the correct place. But because I've used the DDS format in Blender, there's something going on with the script and the program structure that doesn't align it correctly. If I drag the UV coordinates down, we will see that the image is back to front. It may well be actually that the DDS option that I've chosen isn't really compatible with the Blender runtime. However, the important thing is I've got a general idea of why the problem is occurring. So if I escape, press the escape key to exit the current command, which is the grab command, G key, I'll open the PNG version of the image. PNG, here we go. Now the image looks as I expect it to look. The reverse of the sign, let's go into default mode and get rid of the tabs by pressing the T and the N key. The back of the edges of the sign are brown, but currently I have not created any UV coordinates for this part, so any texturing applied to the image will not be visible because all of the UVs of the vertices are 0 values. However, in this situation it's fine because I will sort this out in my own time. The main thing is we've got the texture applied. Okie dokie. Now there is one more thing we need to do here. Although the texture is applied to the object, the DirectX exporter is not going to tell DBPRO, the DBPRO engine, that the object limb has a texture. If we do export it just like this, the object will not be textured. We need to go a little step further. We need to create what's called a material. Drag this over. We create a new material by pressing the new button in the object properties. We'll switch into object mode and do this. No need to name the material for now. Click on the texture tab, textures tab. Click twice if it doesn't show up the first time. It's a bit of a minor bug. New, go down to the type of texture, which is clouds by default. We will select image or movie, and we'll go down to the image panel and select the browse image to be linked, which browses the images currently open in memory. We'll select the directional sign of PNG. We'll go down and select the mapping mode, which is generated by default. We need to pick UV coordinates. Now that is all we need to do for this to work in Blender. Export, DirectX, the same name we saved before has been remembered, so we just save over that and take a look at how it looks in the DBPRO engine. Now I've already inserted the name of the file, so we just need to run this program. So let's have a look at how this looks. Hopefully the texture should be visible in the engine. It takes a bit of a while to load because of the capturing of audio and video and compiling at the same time. It's a bit much for the CPU, but it's taking a little bit long, so let's cut this bit of the video and get straight to it. Okay, so let's drag this into view and move a little bit this way. I've made the movement a little bit too slow actually, but you can see, hopefully you can see with the video settings you have. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to select the HD quality unless your bandwidth has been limited. There we see the name of the sign, bank. Nice. It's shaded okay without any proper UV coordinate settings on the pole and on the back. I mean, you don't always have to get everything perfectly UV mapped. This object is just a minor sign. There's going to be more interesting and important things that I'll be focusing more on. So for now, this will do. I'll do a little bit of a cylinder UV map on the pole and add a little bit of texture to it, a little bit of a bump map, and make it look good in the engine. For now, that concludes this creativity with DBPRO Blender video showcase, making a road sign. Until next time, take care.